Welcome to the Naked Mama podcast, where to be truly naked is to be eternally committed to stripping away the layers, illuminating the truth within, and emerging as the woman, the mother that you are destined to become. To be truly naked is to be truly you. I am your host, Angel Rockwell, intuitive motherhood coach, transformational mentor, and bold believer in turning the impossible into reality. I am a mama, a wife, a revolutionary entrepreneur, and a visionary for creating a legacy of abundance and fulfillment inside of motherhood. My mission here with the Naked Mama podcast is to debunk the myths of motherhood that disconnect you from your power as a mother and as a woman, and to reconnect you back to the sanctity and magic of the mother-child bond that ultimately is the key to uncovering the ease, freedom, and confidence that you desire and, truth be told, are meant to experience. I'm going to be sharing pieces of my transformational journey along with purely sourced intuitive guidance so that you can begin to see what's possible for you. Know that you are not alone and begin to take action, building momentum towards living the life that you know deep down you are meant to live. The Naked Mama podcast is here to break down the myths of motherhood that are holding you back. Each episode is designed to be a powerful conversation to raise the consciousness of women through motherhood. Each episode holds the power for you to shift into alignment, gain deeper clarity, and expand your awareness. My commitment to you is to show up authentically and be naked with you. The journey here inside the Naked Mama podcast is the journey of evolution and expansion into deeper levels of fulfillment, freedom, and ease. Here inside these episodes, we connect and ground, nourish ourselves, grow, and rise together. I am so excited to welcome you into the world of the Naked Mama. Now, if you're wanting extra love and more support in between episodes, please follow me on Instagram at @TheRealAngelRockwell. Now, let's dive right into today's episode. Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to the Naked Mama podcast, where what it means to be truly naked as a woman, as a mother, is the curiosity and commitment to becoming the fullest embodiment of truth, desire, and freedom, the fullest embodiment of you. I invite you to get comfy, to be present, and to be open. Consider this a conversation. A couple of mamas coming together to be in a space of support, acceptance, love, and growth together. The work that I do with my clients, the work that I do with myself, and the vibe that I am here to create inside this podcast is all possible because of the work that I am committed to myself, which means I am in this with you. You are never alone. And mama, I mean it when I say, I am here with you. I see you, I feel you, and I hold space for you to be safe, seen, and loved, and for you to break through whatever is here holding you back so that you can experience the freedom that you truly are. I know you desire more for yourself. That's why you're here with me, and that's what will keep you coming back to these conversations. And every time you do, know that you showing up here is you taking action, and you are on the path you are meant to be. I am so happy you are here, and I celebrate you for showing up and taking this moment for you. It says so much about you and your commitment to living the life you truly desire. So, inside this podcast, we'll be taking a dive into the myths of motherhood, breaking down the walls and digging into the foundation of their creation so we can get a clear look at what's beneath. Ultimately, the choice is yours to take or leave what you hear here. My intention for you is that you feel something, that something inside of you shifts, wakes up, and tunes into the truth of you that is just waiting and so ready to be expressed. Inside today's episode, here and now, we are going to dive right into the myth of sacrifice. The meaning of sacrifice here in this myth is an act of giving up something, especially for the sake of something or someone else. Now, we're going to take a look at this definition from two different perspectives, and then I'll offer a third, because words are simply words, and it's what we make them mean that is either progressive or destructive. Let's look at the most widely accepted perspective of sacrifice here today. This one is framed with a negativistic view. It perceives sacrifice as giving up something that isn't wanted to be given up. And it would sound something like this: I sacrificed my body for this child. I sacrificed my job, what I love to do, to be home with my baby. I sacrificed everything for you. Okay, the last one may sound a little bit dramatic, but I put it in there because I've said it before, plenty of times before I stepped into motherhood, which is exactly what led me to be here to see so clearly how all of this can play out so differently. And of course, I know I'm not the only one who has spoken these words in this way. So if you hear yourself in any of those words, know again, you are not alone, and it is okay. I'm going to share with you a little bit about my personal journey here within this concept and how I had it framed that really set myself up to feel like I was sacrificing myself in a way that really actually caused me a fair bit of suffering. So I have always felt the desire to help people, to help others. And this really played out in my relationships, within every relationship I had within my family, but I really started to see the pattern, and I really see it clearly now in my romantic relationships, in just wanting to help people, offering help when help wasn't asked for. And it came from it came from what I felt, what I believed at the time was a good intention, and that why want to help you, which means there's a positive root here where you can feel happier, be more successful, be more truly you. We can be happier together. Does any of this feel familiar? This was absolutely my life for quite some time. And how my desire to help people was so clear in my focus that it didn't allow me to see that the help I was offering was actually deeply and enabling and not actually helping at all. It was, if I do this, then this will happen. And it wasn't within myself. And we're not even specifically talking about expectation here. It's in terms of relationship. And with this will come back to mom and baby. When we're looking at, I do this for you, or when we're dealing with the intention, with the efforted action of thinking, believing, and taking specific steps towards, I'm going to do this so that you can change, or you'll be happier, or you'll see what I've done for you. You will then give me thanks. You will be appreciative. You will provide me with the acknowledgement and the validation that I so deeply desire, because look at all of these things that I have done for you. I lived in this space for a long time. And I told myself it was coming from a place of good intention. And we're going to come back to that, put a little bit of a pin in that. So, this view of sacrifice, the one that is framed up with, I have to give something up that I don't really want to give up for you. This view, negativistically framed, comes from an energy of dissatisfaction, a lack of love for one's body, a lack of fulfillment for one's pursuits, a lack of fulfillment in self-love. Now, each one of these will fill up an entire future episode down the road all on its own. So let's just shift away from this perspective, because it really just creates a frequency that ultimately attracts more dissatisfaction. And let's take a look at the satisfaction side of sacrifice. This perspective is framed with a positive view. The perspective perceives sacrifice as an honor of giving something up for the benefit of something greater or for the benefit of someone else. And it would sound something like this: I sacrifice my body for this child. I sacrifice my job, what I love to do, to be home with my baby. I sacrifice everything for you. Same words as before, different energy. Can you feel the difference? This is an amazing illustration of how powerful we are at creating. In this case, creating different and contradictory meaning out of the exact same words. Before I share with you the third view, and the one in which I believe holds the power to shift the underlying consciousness of motherhood for the greatest good of our children and the greatest good of you, of us, now, I want to talk about a symptom. So, a massive symptom of the I sacrifice myself for my children myth is the belief that a mother sacrificing herself now for her children will pay off later for her children. The trouble is, and the truth is it doesn't work that way. The payoff later reality is a possible reality. It's in fact a certain reality, but we cannot get there from the sacrifice mentality. And this right here is why so many mothers are out there in the world wondering why what they do is never enough and why they can't seem to find a way to give enough of themselves to create any true lasting change. Now, this is big. So, I invite you now to take a deep breath with me here. And before we do, find some stillness. Notice how your body feels. Notice where your mind is. Accept this moment with love and grace. Allow your shoulders to relax. Allow yourself to settle in. Now, exhale your breath out and sip in a delicious, fresh breath. Breathe it in deeply. Hold it for a moment and release. Exhale. Let the breath flow. Good. Now, notice where you are now in your mind and in your body. And smile. You are right where you are meant to be. So the piece here, the problem here with this mentality of sacrifice now for payoff later lies in the energy. So again, going back to what I shared with you earlier about my desire to help people. The energy behind that was charged with my need to help people. To see, I see you, you need help. I'm going to be the one to give it to you. There's a need there, and the need shines brightly because of the lack underneath. You're missing something, I can help you. You don't have something, I can give it to you. So really the energy underneath it, it's not coming from a place of love. It's not coming from a place of acceptance. It's not coming from a good place. It's masked in the appearance of good intentions when really it's a forcible attempt to change and control the things that we cannot control. So, as I illustrated before, how with the same use of language, amplified with two opposing energies, the negative, destructive, and the positive, progressive, you cannot progress with negativity and you cannot destruct with positivity. So, to hold the belief birthed from the myth of motherhood that a mother must sacrifice herself for her children. That is her duty. That's her job. That's why she's here. And also try to grasp onto the belief that sacrificing herself will somehow create a reality for her children in which they get to have everything they want. It doesn't make any sense. The creation of something new cannot be birthed from the repetition and regurgitation of actions, energies, and beliefs that have continued to produce the current reality in which you see. It just doesn't work. To quickly summarize this negative, destructive, and positive, progressive, the negative, destructive, obviously, we've cleared that out. That just doesn't work. Now, the positive, progressive, say, well, it says positive and progressive, Angel. Yes, it does. And there is progression there. It's just slower than it needs to be. There's still so much that's in the way. And this is why I offer a third perspective here, to create the opportunity for our children to not only exist in a world of possibility, but to thrive in total freedom inside a world of possibility, and to understand that they are the creators of the world in which they inhabit. That's what comes from a place where this myth of sacrifice simply just is not tolerated. So let's slough off the idea altogether of sacrifice by shining some light on the positive side of sacrifice. To give something up, whether physically, mentally, or emotionally, even spiritually, is to imply I had something I wanted and I chose not to have that anymore for you. And you're welcome. Enter the martyrdom complex. A martyr is someone who chooses to sacrifice their life or face pain and suffering instead of giving up something they hold sacred, the sacred child. In this sense, the giving up, the sacrifice is the fulfillment, is the happiness, is the purpose, the desire, the time, the ease, the rest and relaxation, the freedom. There is a massive, massive impact on the children here. Sacrifice is not an option, and integration is key. This is a foundational concept in my life and in the work that I do with my clients, in everything that I do. Sacrifice, whether viewed from the positive perspective, I gave this up for you so that you can have a good life, or view from the negative perspective, I gave this up for you so that you can have a good life, lead down the path to the same result. Our children learn to put the needs of others first through this myth of sacrifice. They learn to disconnect from their own truth. They learn to deny their intuition. They learn to sacrifice themselves for the sake of others and live unfulfilled lives. Big stuff, I know, and I do not say this lightly. I say this with love and deep, firm, rooted belief that you and I, all of us, and our children deserve more. I'm just quickly here reminded of one thing that we think we've all heard as children growing up. Well, if everybody was jumping off a bridge, would you do it too? Well, no. The answer is no, right? But if everybody around you is sacrificing themselves for others, aren't our children going to learn to do the same thing too? So, this massive impact on our children can be shifted into a massive impact that has a remarkable, expansive, and positive, like really shine freaking bright, illuminative, positive, transformative ripple effect. Again, not just for our children later in life, for us here now, us as mothers, us as families, us as children, us as a collective consciousness. There is a way out of all this mess. We've taken a look at a negative and a positive perspective around sacrifice, and we've taken a look at the instability and inefficiency of both. Both perspectives create a world of lack and unfulfillment. They both create a disconnection of mother from self, a disconnection between mother and child, and both perspectives create a framework that upholds a system in which one person's success and happiness is built upon the sacrifice of another. It is reliant on the external to survive and ultimately allows zero room for personal responsibility and self ownership. For mother and child, it continues to become a world in which it is always someone else's job to fix the problem for the sake of someone else. And what if there just wasn't a problem to be fixed? As mothers, we must be willing to take responsibility for ourselves fully, wholly, and completely so that our children can learn and experience right along with us, what it means to love oneself, enjoy the experience of life, to learn from life and take responsibility, total ownership for their own happiness, for our own happiness individually, so we can eliminate blaming of others for what ails us. The sacrifice self for children mentality places energetic blame on our children. Now, I know that's a big one, and I'm going to say it again. The sacrifice self for children mentality places energetic blame on our children for the way we feel. It is time to shift this mentality as women in motherhood now. I know that you can feel pieces of that blame when for your inner child, when you were a child, for that child you inside of you that you still carry with you. I know you desire to not pass that on to your children. So here's how. We become willing to own the full desire for what we choose to do. It is not about sacrifice. We can just eliminate sacrifice from the totality of our language, our being, our feeling, our experience. Let's just get rid of it. We're going to get rid of the I have to for my children. We're going to get rid of the I need to for my children. We're going to get rid of the I don't have a choice, my child needs. We're getting rid of it all. We're wrapping it up together in this sacrifice myth ball, and we're just tossing it away into the cosmos to be absorbed and transformed into something magnificent, which is this. There is always a choice. What would happen if we all, as mothers, owned our choices? Of course, there are things to do, there are things to be done. I get that. So let's step outside this concept of sacrifice in order to and embrace the desire. You chose to be a mother. I chose to be a mother. Every mother chooses to be a mother. We can then choose everything inside of motherhood as well. Now, if you cannot find a way to desire to do the things you are doing, then that is something to take a real look at. And that is the kind of work that I do with my clients. Oh, it's so freaking good. There are so many things we can step into as mothers where we can find the desire to within. And when you cannot, you should not be doing it. It's that simple. Most often, it is easier to blame someone else, our child, the stress of having a child, the lack of time, the lack of space around having a child, which ultimately all boils down to blaming the child for the way we feel, for the way we are. And this is easier than choosing a willingness to choose, to desire to do the things we do, to be the things we are. So, what if there is a way for you to love everything that you do? I promise you that there is. We simply have to be willing to stop blaming what's in front of us and first be willing to see that we are, in fact, blaming what's in front of us for the way things are and for the way we feel. We desire freedom as mothers, as women, as humans, as physical beings in this world. We are born free. Our children are born free. And wouldn't it be lovely for that reality to remain certain? It absolutely freaking can. When a mother steps into her power, it can be uncomfortable to get truly honest with oneself. As I said in the beginning, I am in this with you. This is my work. And yes, it gets uncomfortable, but there is a way to find beauty in the discomfort. So I give you this to take with you. Where in your life are you blaming other people and other things, other circumstances for the way you are and for the way you feel? And then what would shift for you if instead of blaming, you took ownership and decided to make a choice that served you for the sake of you and felt good? Now, to make the shift from I sacrificed myself for you into something glorious. We just need to get curious with those couple of questions. So, whether that's you just roll those around in your head, or maybe you carve some time out to write, or maybe you're more of a voice note person, whatever feels good, whatever you're feeling called to do with these questions right now, I invite you to follow that intuitive guidance and create that possibility for yourself. So, to make the shift from I sacrificed myself for you into I loved myself so that I could be a shining example of what I desire to see and create in the world. To make a shift from I sacrificed myself for you into I lived freely and fully for myself, and my children learned to do the same. It is all possible with the simple willingness to get curious. Now, I know this was all big today, so before we go away, let's take another deep breath. Relax those shoulders, maybe take a shake out, and breathe in with me here. Deep breath in. And exhale, deep breath out. Beautiful work, Mama, glorious soul. You are so beautiful, and you are so loved. Thank you so much for joining me inside this episode today, for your willingness to be in this conversation, share in the vibe, the wisdom, and the connection with me. This vibe is now yours to take with you. So take one more deep breath with me, Mama, and breathe this in before you step forward with the rest of your day. Pause what you're doing. Be still. Close your eyes. One hand on your heart. One hand on your belly. Deep breath in. And deep breath out. Feel what you feel. Honor it. And love on yourself like crazy for being open to this moment right here, right now. If this episode resonated with you, made you feel something undeniable, I encourage you to share it and spread the love. And please tag me so that I can connect with you and indulge in the vibe with you. And so that together we can get this podcast into the hands of more mamas who could use a little naked mama in their life. Remember to subscribe so you can stay connected. And if you're looking for love and support between episodes, follow me on Instagram at @TheRealAngelRockwell. If you're feeling pulled for more, join the Naked Mama private Facebook community where deep levels of magic await. Lastly, always feel free to connect with me directly. I adore voice messages, just FYI. If you choose to pop into my inbox, I guarantee I'll be all up in your inbox in the best way. I will see you here again next week for another transformative episode. Until then, sending love and light to you, beautiful Mama.